political analyst Hassan Shad for his take. Welcome to the programme. So the government's claiming Imran Khan's party has apologised to the US while Mr Khan's party is denying any such thing occurred. How do you see it?
Firstly, thank you for having me on your show. In response to your question, I don't see any reason why former Prime Minister Imran Khan or his party would be apologizing to the Americans. Firstly, there is nothing to apologize for. If there is evidence that a assistant U.S. Secretary of State or official from the U.S. government has indeed met with Pakistan's ambassador to the U.S. and he has told him that if Imran is deposed from power, which happened around 3 months ago, then Pakistan would be forgiven. Now, if Imran is to go back to the U.S. government and say that I apologize for saying this, then that basically takes down his entire narrative. It does not make any sense. And looking at the political situation in Pakistan these days, there is a lot of fake news flying around, and each party is trying to discredit the other party so that it gains political mileage. And I see this as part of that fake news and disinformation campaign that has been launched against Imran to make him look weak. Now, having said that, let's not forget that international diplomacy involves a number of layers. So if the former Prime Minister's party has reached out to certain elements in the US establishment to mend fences, to explain their point of view, that's completely different from going to them and apologizing over something for which there is absolutely nothing to apologize. Let's not forget that former Prime Minister Imran Khan has time and again mentioned that he wants excellent relationships with the US. But those relationships have to be based on mutual respect for one another. It is not going to be a relationship in which somebody picks up the phone and tells Pakistan what they need to do. For example, in relation to the Russia visit, it has been alleged that the Americans were not happy with that visit. The former Prime Minister has very clearly mentioned that the purpose of the visit was to develop economic ties with Russia. The relationship had been warming up between the two countries over the last few years. And the idea behind Imran Khan reaching out to Russia and meeting President Vladimir Putin was to get support from Russia in relation to Pakistan's energy needs. So this whole issue has been blown out of proportion. Just to make Pakistan look like it's doing something which is wrong.
And is that, as you allege, that the government's trying to discredit Khan, is that after the huge rallies of support for him that we saw in the month of May? Are ruling authorities afraid of his continued popularity? Is that what is at stake here?
Well, absolutely it is, because if you look at the last 2.5, 3 months, Imran has been galvanizing masses from across the country, and they number in millions. The night he was deposed, I believe the next night after that, there were close to 10 million people who came out on the roads to support him. And if you look at the rally that he held on the 2nd of July, it was a mammoth rally in which people from all walks of life came and supported Imran. What has helped Imran's narrative is that the country has been hit by skyrocketing inflation. People are literally not able to live through the day. And they now realize in hindsight that Imran was a far better leader who was doing economic reforms in the country, which were long-term. He was reaching out to countries. He was breaking away from the traditional political model that has been followed by other leaders in the past, and he was doing what was best for the country. So yes, this has put the current government in a tight spot, and they're trying to malign him. They're trying to make him look like he was an aberration. He was doing something wrong, which has made them take all these unnecessary measures against him.
And can I just touch finally on another aspect, that of Washington's entanglement in Pakistani politics? Was Khan's ousting orchestrated from abroad, like he claims? We have around 30 seconds left.
So look, I mean, let me put it this way. I don't have evidence, direct evidence, nobody does, but we have to rely on circumstantial evidence, because if you connect the dots, then what has happened in the last 3 months makes you believe, it gives you a reasonable presumption that the US did not like Imran Khan, because he had been very vocal about the fact that he is not going to give US any air bases. And that statement he made, absolutely not, is what rattled the Americans, because they're not used to hitting absolutely nots. They're used to hitting absolutely yes, we will do what you want us to do. So I believe that yes, there is circumstantial evidence that does point one to conclude that his ouster has a lot to do with not fulfilling America's demands.
We appreciate the concise answer. Thank you very much. Time has beaten us. Hassan Shad, international law and geopolitical analyst, live on RT.